Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a hockey fan, you thought that NHL draft lottery just passed was either scripted or a lot of teams got really screwed over. So, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And we're going to be recapping what just happened a couple minutes ago at the NHL draft lottery. So, at first, it was taking forever just to show what the draft lottery was, what the picks were going to be. But then once we finally got to the picks, that's where the interesting things happen. So we already know with with the NHL playoffs right now, we're in the 2014 playoff format. We got the qualifying rounds. Technically, we're still doing the draft lottery, even though we don't know the top 15 teams that are technically in the draft lottery. We know the top 7, and the last 8 are the teams that can get eliminated from the qualifying round. So the way this would work, so the top 7 teams, they would get their percentages of winning the first overall pick. Same thing with the unknown teams. They would have their percentages. But if any of those top 7 teams landed in the top 3 of the draft lottery, we would not have to worry about doing any kind of redraft. The reselecting of each pick would go by reverse point order. But this is the NHL, and the draft lottery is very unpredictable. You can see teams falling from 13 to the first overall pick. You see the Flyers, when they were at least like in their high range, they fell to the second overall pick to get Nolan Patrick. So it's just, the draft lottery is just very unpredictable, like the NHL is. So this draft lottery just had more surprises with us. So we just saw when they brought the cards up, they said, we have 8 cards, so that means one of the placeholder teams is in this draft lottery, and they got into the top 3. So we were just wondering where that pick was going to land. And then you got teams like the Detroit Red Wings, who had the worst record out of the entire NHL. Were they going to get screwed over? The Ottawa Senators, they had the second and the third best odds of getting the first overall pick from the San Jose pick as well that they got in the Erik Karlsson trade. So were they going to land at least the top 2 of the top 3 picks, or maybe get 2 of the top 5 picks? That was the question right there. Or is one of those top 7 teams going to jump up into that first overall slot? So we got, with the 8th overall pick, you get the Buffalo Sabres. The 7th overall pick goes to the New Jersey Devils. 6th overall pick goes to the Anaheim Ducks. And the 5th overall pick, which was originally the Los Angeles Kings, that went to the Ottawa Senators. And that's the Ottawa Senators' original pick. That's not the San Jose pick at all. So they fall down to the 5th place spot, and LA jumps into the top 3. And with the 4th overall pick, oh my god, I feel so bad for this team. The Detroit Red Wings fall out of the top 3 of the draft lottery, and they get the 4th overall pick. They lose out on Alexis Lafreniere, and it's just everything that was going so wrong for the team during the season. A lot of fans were expecting they were going to win the draft lottery. They were going to get Alexis Lafreniere or Quinn Byfield or someone like that. But they fall out of that top 3, and I sympathize with all the Detroit fans right there. I feel so bad right now because you were expecting that top 3 pick, and you fell to the top 4. It just feels like when Colorado was the worst team and they had one of the worst records in the league, and they fell to top 4. That just has to be one of the worst feelings in the world. So once we get into that top 3 selection, the 3rd overall pick goes to the Ottawa Senators via the San Jose Sharks pick. So the Ottawa Senators, they do eventually fall into that top 3, but sadly they couldn't get at least 2 of the top 3, which has to feel bad right there because that really could have accelerated their rebuild that they're going through. And with the 2nd overall pick, it's going to the Los Angeles Kings, so we all know where number 1 is going to be. But for the LA Kings, they're basically just at the start of their rebuild, and this is going to help them a lot. We all know Alexis Lafreniere is going to go 1st overall, but getting someone like Byfield at number 2, that can really help a team moving forward to get younger and to accelerate their rebuild even further. So I feel like this was something that everyone could have expected, but also people didn't expect at the same time. So a placeholder team lands with the 1st overall pick in the 2020 NHL draft. So the precautions of what's going to happen since this placeholder team landed in the 1st overall pick. So we have to wait for the qualifying rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs to commence and finish. So once those teams are eliminated from the qualifying rounds, they will do a redraft for that number 1 overall pick, that placeholder pick. And every single team that gets eliminated from those qualifying rounds, they all have an equal percent chance of getting that pick at 12.5%. And if you are a Flyers fan, if you're a Washington Capitals fan, I'm going this by Metropolitan Division bias because I live in Philadelphia. But if you're one of those two teams, if you're a fan of those two teams, you are scared. You are kind of scared at this point because you have teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins in the qualifying round, the New York Rangers, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the New York Islanders, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Every Metropolitan Division team that can possibly fall out of the qualifying rounds, they have a great chance of landing that first overall pick. So that means if Pittsburgh were to lose to Montreal in the qualifying round, they can get the first overall pick. If the New York Islanders, they lose to the Florida Panthers, they have a chance of getting the first overall pick. And this is even scarier. The New York Rangers, they are fine either way if they win or they lose the qualifying round, because it just so happens the team they're playing in, the Carolina Hurricanes, they own their first round pick as well. So the Rangers, they can advance to the Stanley Cup playoffs and have Carolina lose, and the New York Rangers still have a lottery pick. The Rangers can fall out of the qualifying rounds, they still have a lottery pick, so they're fine either way. And if Columbus loses to Toronto, they have a chance to get that first overall pick. So it's really scary. That, honestly, that is a really scary thing to think about, but we're still a long ways away from that. But if you're a Carolina fan, if you're a fan of the Hurricanes, oh my God, you have to feel terrible at this point, because you're screwed either way. You're not getting a first round pick this season because it belongs to the Rangers, and if you fall out, that pick goes to the Rangers, so you would have to hope you get into the playoffs. So I guess you can kind of screw with the Rangers, but it doesn't matter because they'll get a lottery pick regardless. Well, by chance, they could get a lottery pick, so that can honestly be scary. But you can also have some of the Western Division teams that can fall out of the qualifying round too, have a chance to get that first overall pick. But it's just like, when you're looking at this from a Metropolitan Division standpoint, it's really scary because a lot of Metro teams have a chance to land that first overall pick. So it's going to be weird. Who is going to land that first overall pick out of the placeholder teams? Who's going to get Alexis Lafreniere? We're going to have to wait and see until those qualifying rounds are done. So don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section what you thought about this draft lottery. Do you think it was scripted? Do you think a lot of teams got screwed over? Specifically Detroit, specifically Ottawa. A lot of those teams got screwed over. I feel bad for them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I said I'm going to be more consistent once sports gets underway. And thank you for watching this episode, and I will make sure to see you next time.